Let us contemplate on these words of the scriptures describing the goddess. O goddess, by you this universe is born. By you is this world created. By you it is protected. O goddess, and you consume it at the end. You are of the form of the whole world. At the time of creation, you are of the form of the creative forces. At the time of sustenance, you are of the form of the protective power. And at the time of the dissolution, you are of the form of the destructive forces. You are the supreme knowledge as well as the great illusion. You are the great intelligence, the great memory, and also the great delusion. You, O great goddess, is also the great Asuri. Tvayaitat dharyate vishvam, tvayaitat srijyate jagat, tvayaitat palyate devi, tvamatsante cha sarvada. Visrishto srishtirupatvam, stitirupa cha palane, tata sanghritirupante, jagatosya jaganmahe. Mahavidya mahamaya, Mahameda mahasmriti, Mahamoha cha bhavati, Mahadevi mahasuri. This is an ancient chant from one of the scriptures devoted to the goddess. Swamiji teaches us every religion has three parts: philosophy or metaphysics or theology, mythology, and rituals. The ethics, etc., which is common to all religions, is derived from these three sources. In most religions, you can see the clear distinction between these three. And yet, philosophy and mythology and rituals need to be embodied. And how do they embody? The various deities that we have are nothing but a blend of the philosophy, the mythology, and the rituals. Speaking of the significance of the worship of Durga, what does it mean? Whenever you talk about significance, it also means progress. Progress in understanding these three levels. Is it only in religions that these three things are there? Oh no. These three levels are within us. philosophy or metaphysics, the knowledge part. What about mythology? Yeah, look at your own life with the past. It seems like a kind of a myth. Besides, we always think in symbols. That is part of mythology. It's symbolic. And rituals, yeah, we do the same things over and over again. We are by nature ritualistic. When we try to combine the highest philosophy and the highest mythology and the highest symbolism, what do we get? We get something like this, the goddess. I mean, looking at her, it challenges everyone's conceptions of reality. Everyone. There's no doubt about it. We are kind of culturally attuned to see this now. She can be grasped and she can not be grasped. So it challenges our perception of what reality, and this is what we are going to kind of tease out some of the elements. It's vast. I'll just take a kind of a snapshot view or a thumbnail view of. So in the scriptures, which is called the Devi Mahatmyam, the glory of the goddess, the king, the name is Surata, he asked the sage Rishi, who is that goddess whom you call Mahamaya, the great Maya? How did she come into being? And what is the sphere of action? What constitutes her nature? What is her form? Where did she originate? All that I wish to know from you. And the Rishi replies, she is eternal, embodied as a universe. By her, all this is pervaded, and she incarnates in manifold ways. So we think, yeah, this is the kind of a goddess and a martial goddess. And, you know, we also have this conception of these universal archetypes mentioned by Carl Jung. You see the same iconography also in ancient Anatolia. The goddess Kaibal, she is a mountain-dwelling, lion-riding, martial goddess. And all the derivatives of Kaibal later on becomes the various other goddesses like Inanna, etc., Diana. All the goddesses have kind of, they have evolved from her. So she is an ancient, you can say, archetype within all of us. That's the reason why I said, like, the philosophy and the symbology and ritual is embodied within us. And we like to project it outside. And this is what we get. So it challenges us, yes, because those things are subconscious within us. And when we project it, oh no, you are actually worshipping your own inner ideas. And that's why she looks like that, but there is that appeal, there's that connection with this goddess. Now to come back to, we are not satisfied with only, archetypes and this and that. So this, every archetype, every idea, every conception of reality evolves, grows. That is what is religion. If you have something that does not evolve, is static, this is said and that is all. some 5,000 or 6,000 or 7,000 years ago, that's final. No. As we progress, our conceptions of reality grow. That is actually religion. These archetypes are the real source of religion. In ancient Greece, they used to call it logos. We embody that truth. So, she is the principal goddess. And she is also called Devi and Shakti, power. Because when you see things around, one thing you understand, it's existence and there's a power behind that existence. She is the divine feminine energy. She's singular, yeah, but you can see she's plural also. She's accompanied by the other goddesses. They are depicted outside, but they are parts of her, different aspects of her. So there are a plethora of deities that emerge from her and also merge into her. Okay. So the earliest references we find about her is in the Rig Veda, Durga Suktam, Devi Suktam, etc. And apart from the Vedic, the most ancient, you can say, tales called the Puranas, the mythology, they laud her. She's found in the Mahabharata, in the Ramayana, in the various Puranas, the Devi Bhagavatam, the Markandeya Purana, everywhere. She's everywhere. And she's been there for the last 5,000-6,000 years. There are some scholars that say that she was actually pre-Vedic, before the Vedic age began. She was even earlier than that. Only thing, she was absorbed in the pantheon. Come, welcome. You know, and this is how religion grows. They say, no, this is not good, this is wrong. No. See the good points and absorb it in. And that's how Swami Vivekananda gives the example of how Hinduism grew by illustrating it with a tsunami. He says, a quote, "Sect after sect, that is religion after religion, arose in India and seemed to shake the religions of the Vedas to its very foundation. But like the waters of the seashore in a tremendous earthquake, it receded for a while, only to return in an all-absorbing flood, 1,000 times more vigorous. And when the tumult of the rush was over, these sects and these religions, etc., were sucked in, absorbed and assimilated in the great mother faith." So today, if you ask anybody what is Hinduism, it's confusing. We have so many ideas. It's actually a collection of all religions, and all within a kind of a boundary, which is, of course, always expanding. So this rich, it's syncretic. The iconography is syncretic. As I mentioned, philosophy and mythology and all these things, they come and they merge and they blend into each other. So we have her origins, like, where did she origin? And where did she come from? So you find that it has been mentioned, Brahma, the creator God, he's a very liberal God. Whatever you ask, he gives you. And sometimes doesn't know the consequences. And sometimes gets into trouble. So he had given a boon to one of these, you can say, forces or asuras. Sura is God. Asura is a non-God. One who does not have godly you can say tendencies or impressions. So these things are also within us. We have the dark side. As Carl Jung said, we have the shadow. We've got to integrate that shadow within us. So that shadow. So the boon was that this Asura, this force, will not be destroyed by any male gods. And he had become kind of invincible. Now he's saying he's become unstoppable. Nobody can stop him. And the gods were ousted from their spheres, and they were moving around like ordinary, like mortals. And they went to complain to the gods. Now they say, look at us. And then Shiva and Vishnu and even Brahma also, they kind of, the scriptures say they were enraged. And out of them, a luminous blob of light emerges. And then the other gods who are there, they also contributed their light into this form. Now the word devas, the gods, it's an old god. It's an old word. Devas means dyutna, to shine. That which shines is God. Okay. And that word deva later has become Dios and Theos and theology and etc. etc. It's an ancient Indo-Aryan word. So they are light, and it condensed into a beautiful form of Durga. And the gods were so pleased, and they gave her their weapons one by one. This was the power of the gods. Yet she was greater than all the gods, because she, as it were, was their very soul. And then the gods, they praised her, and then they said, hey, you've got something to do. And then she kind of confronts that evil, the force. What's her sphere of action? Well, everywhere. Now, the gods praise her as the one supreme God, goddess. So she is God. So you want to see what is God like? This is what is God. She is also called the mother of all gods. Yes. Then she has 108 names. Ritually we have got to chant 108 names. But there's another higher chant. She has 1,000 names. And it's so mellifluous, so beautiful when we chant. It's so uplifting. During these 9 days of this festival where she is worshipped, every day people chant this. But those names itself says that all names in this world belong to her, because she is the soul of sound, Shabdatmika. So all sound is her soul also. So all words, all sounds, all music, everything is she, the goddess. Because what happens is, you have to make the goddess approachable, accessible. You cannot have her sitting on that mountains, on the lion and coming down one side. Yeah, she comes annually. And that is also to show the cyclic nature, the renewal of cosmic energies. So what constitutes a form? Every word has a form. You cannot have just a sound without a form. Every sound is a form. And whenever you have a sound and a form, it's vibration. And vibration means activity. So what is her principal source of activity? Everything. We think, we speak, our bodies work, the atoms and molecules are working, the stars are shining, they are going pop supernova. Everything is her activity. She is the universe. And she pervades the universe as activity. So during this initial worship, there is a kind of a pot. It's not depicted here, but then when we will have a puja, we will have a small pot there. It's sanctified. So she is first worshipped as the pot. It's called a kalasha. That is, as it were, the womb of creation. You might think, oh, just kind of another kind of mythology. Yeah, to understand, make you understand that there is something called a womb of. In fact, when Swami Vivekananda one time, he had a vision and he was perplexed. What is that? And he goes to Sri Ramakrishna and he described this vision. And Sri Ramakrishna said, oh yeah, good. Even I have witnessed that. So he sees the womb of creation giving birth to thousands and thousands of worlds. So there is actually a womb of creation. So that, the goddess represents that. Okay. So on each of the 9 days, one aspect of her is worshipped. Like I said, she has different aspects. But the 3 main aspects are, she is Mahalakshmi. The first 3 days of the 9 nights, Mahalakshmi. In that, what she does is, she battles that Mahishasura, that great force, which is shown here. Now, what happens is, it's a shape-shifting kind of force. Sometimes in the form of a lion, sometimes in the form of a buffalo, sometimes in the form of a man. And the Devi is also countering each form. She is morphing into each form to counter. So we think we can conquer evil. We try to. You have to know each aspect of that and accordingly counter it, because it morphs. We are trying to eradicate evil. It seems ineradicable. It has various forms. So the Devi takes various forms to counter each other. And finally, she does them in. The second aspect is the Maha Saraswati, the great Saraswati. Saraswati is a goddess of purity, of light and knowledge and everything that's beautiful. She is that spiritual nature within us. And she can be approached through love, through art, through sciences, through every form of learning. So she is another great goddess who, as we said, she is part of this Durga. When we feel her power, when we feel integrated, we are experiencing that Saraswati. Right? And the last aspect, the third aspect, is the Mahakali, the great Kali. Now she has to counter evil, which is multiplying like mad. Whenever the goddess is trying to kill one form, the blood spills and it gives rise to similar kind of forms, kind of a cloning itself into multitudes of that form. It's something like that. You start something and then that thought or whatever starts cloning itself and starts spreading in your mind. It's always there. We start something innocently and then we get trapped in it. And you only need a huge, you can say, power like that of Kali, who can destroy all these, the clones. So these are the three principal forms of the goddess, and they are shown here, one side as Mahasaraswati and there is the Mahalakshmi. Now, when we look at her, okay, we can understand these, because it's not only this fight is not happening with the demons, etc., not happening outside. It's happening within us. We are the battleground. People think, oh, there was a battle and then she was fighting along with that. Battleground is us, all of us. For us, we think that what we see as perceptible is the reality. It cannot be. There are hundreds and thousands of factors right now active in bringing out this, what we perceive. That is not perceivable. So, at one point of time, you understand that it is here that we need to counter all these things. The battleground is here. So, before we go into that, we'll just have a look at the various arms she has. And that's another challenging thing. There was a young devotee, she's asking me, we have only 2 arms, but how come she has 8 arms? Sometimes I said she has also 10 arms. You see these high-speed cameras, when you wave your arms and then you'll have a multiple of arms, your own arms, it appears like that. So it shows her intense activity. So the conch in her hand symbolizes the sound of Om. Now, this sound is the name of God, the manifest God and the non-manifest God, unmanifest. So it's a long sound, Om, and when you blow the conch correctly, you will get that sound. Okay. So she holds that. The bows and arrows, both hands. Why is she holding this? The bows and the arrows and all that. So she's showing the dynamic and kinetic energies both together, the static and the dynamic. So, potential. So, they are both with her because energy is both static and dynamic. A thunderbolt is like firm in one's convictions, is like a real thunderbolt. It is straight and is powerful. So will our thoughts have to be like that. Our will, our desire to know the reality should be like that, firm. The lotus is just not fully bloomed. The lotus means enlightenment. This has been kind of a constant theme in many, many cultures. So enlightenment is in her hands. And as the lotus grows just from mud or seed, everything is kind of muddy down there, but still it blooms in a beautiful, you can say, lotus. So also, all these old tendencies within us, from there, they can be fruitful in bringing out that enlightenment. The discus is, as I say, it's a weapon of Vishnu, and it's a very powerful weapon, and so it symbolizes everything is subservient to her. She can spin everything. She is spinning everything around her index finger. The sword, that's easy. The sword of knowledge. So this is what does knowledge hack? Ignorance, doubt. All these are the greatest, you can say, obstacles. They are like the demon of doubt, as I say. Swami Vivekananda also in one of his hymns to Shri Ramakrishna says that you slay the demon of doubt. The trident, yeah, it's like it's a weapon of Shiva. Here, she's using that. The 3 points are the 3 sattva, rajas, and tamas, the forms of nature. She's holding it, wield it. And the very other things also are there. The shield, etc. She will shield you from things. Now, we have seen the various aspects of what is that goddess whom you call Mahamaya, the great Maya. Where did she come into being, and what is her sphere of activity, what is her work, etc. The last part is, who is that Devi whom you call Mahamaya, etc. And the sage had said, she is eternal, embodied as the universe. As I mentioned, she is the form of the universe. And yet, she is formless. Because there is an aspect within us, all of us have an aspect, an abstract aspect, and a concrete aspect. You, as a personality, have these two dynamic things always. The concrete, yes, this is me, and yet try to analyze it, it becomes very abstract. So these two forces are always there, these two aspects are there. So the goddess has got these various dimensions. And when the sage says, by her all this is embodied. Now what is this embodied? As I mentioned that the field of her action is the body. And so the scriptures say, and this is one of the highest, you can say, conceptions of God. It will never be repeated. It is there for all times. The secret of understanding Vedanta is you have to internalize everything. If you project it outside, it's going to be temporary, just to have clarity about your own conceptions. That subconscious conceptions, those archetypes, it has to be clear. And that's why you project it. But it's always internalization that takes precedence. So the sage says, these are the one of those lines where you get the conception of the goddess. It starts with Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Nidra Rupena Samstita. Now, what is this? Oh goddess, Ya Devi, in all beings, Sarva Bhuteshu, you are in the form of sleep. Huh? Sleep? All beings sleep. There it is. O Goddess, you are in all beings in the form of consciousness. Because we are conscious beings. Every life form is conscious. She is that form. She is the form of that sleep. And then we think of ourselves as very intelligent. All life is actually intelligent. It's not just we. We have this strange idea that we are intelligent. Wherever you have life, in any form, whether it's ants, whether it's even spiders, it's intelligent. And so the sage says, Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Buddhi Rupena Sansita. O Goddess, you are in all beings as a form of intelligence. So here we are now we are getting closer and closer. Okay. And then he keeps on saying, O Goddess, you are in all beings in the form of hunger. And when he says all beings, it's all beings, not just human beings. Okay? All living beings. O Goddess, you are in all beings in the form of a shadow or reflection. When you reflect, you think and you reflect. She is that. O Goddess, you are in all beings as power, Shakti. O Goddess, you are in all beings as craving, thirst. All beings crave. You are that. O Goddess, you are in all beings as forgiveness. You are in all beings, O Goddess, as various species. Life is divided into species. That's what makes it survive. Otherwise, no life would have survived. It has to proliferate, break down the genus, species, etc. She is that power. O Goddess, you dwell in all beings as modesty. O Goddess, you dwell in all beings as beauty. O Goddess, you dwell in all beings as peace. O Goddess, you dwell in all beings as faith. O Goddess, you dwell in all beings as good fortune, Lakshmi. You dwell in all beings, O Goddess, as activity. Every activity speaks about her work. O Goddess, you are in all beings, living beings, as memory. We remember things. She is that. O Goddess, you dwell in all beings as compassion. O Goddess, you dwell in all beings as contentment. O Goddess, you dwell in all beings as mother. You see every species, every living beings, they have the idea of a mother, take care of the children, offspring. It's there in all. So there. And then we are apt to make mistakes and errors and this and that. She is that also. O Goddess, you dwell in all beings as faults and mistakes and errors. Why not? Because life is liable to make mistakes, and we have these falsehoods also within us. Why should we have only the good side of the goddess and the bad side? No. She is that. O Goddess, you preside over all the senses, the motor and the sensory and everything. You preside over all the elements, all the various elements that are there. She presides, she is that. And then finally, Chitirupena ya Krishnam ekam vyapyastito jagat. Namastasai, 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 namo namah. Goddess, you in the form of consciousness pervades everything. from the animate to the inanimate, and the whole universe has become conscious because of you. Now, these are some of these consciousness, this Devi, that whatever you see and do and think and talk and whatever activities that you have is because of that goddess within you. It cannot be otherwise. So, as I said, she is that dynamic aspect. She has to be embodied. She is embodied in all life, in all minds, in all intelligences, all activity, in everything, everywhere. This is a form of the goddess which is perceptible here and now. You want to understand the goddess within you? Understand all these functions. They are the functions of the goddess. So this is the goddess. What is its significance to us? As I said, significance means progress. We proceed towards understanding that goddess. That goddess, yeah, it is a projection. Saying, I also mentioned that it has evolved. The iconography itself has evolved over time. Things assimilated, but that projection is the collective consciousness of all life. We have, as it were, projected this so that we can worship her. And these 9 days where she is worshipped, we are worshipping our own real nature. Because besides the goddess, there is nothing. Then you understand, oh, I am embodying that goddess. Then you come, I am that goddess. One of the aspects which Swami Vivekananda has instituted in this worship of the goddess is worshipping a little girl as the goddess. And it's really fun to watch the little girl, and she's worshipped. If you can worship a clay image, and besides, now you understand the clay image, as I say, is just a clay image with this. What they do is, after the image has been worshipped with great devotion and fanfare and all these things, on the 10th day, when the worship is over, she, with all the paraphernalia, is immersed in water. Why did they do that? Why did they spend all that money and time and energy and then they just immerse the goddess? That's the idea. The idea is she is now gone back into our self. Before the actual immersion in a body of water, either in a lake or a tank or a river or a sea, this is an essential component because they keep a mirror and placed in water, and so the reflection of the goddess is seen there, and then that's a symbolic immersion first in the mirror. Where does she go? In the mirror of your mind, she is immersed. As I said, she was projected outside and she's gone back inside. So that final day is when she goes back to from where she dwells in every being. And not only dwells, she is every being. So how do we approach this? Yeah? She is the mother. She is the power. She is consciousness. She is energy. She is intelligence. everything that we do will be nothing but mother's work. All life is her. So she dwells in all beings. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu. O Goddess, you dwell in all beings as the mother. There she is. So this is, as I said, the comprehensive aspect of God. She is not now far away. She is your own self that we need to actualize. And in the hymn that I said, Mahavidya, Mahamaya, Mahamoha, Mahasmriti, she, as it were, also has covered this knowledge in us. Yeah, thinking as we are individuals, we are great, we are this separate, we are everything. So she has covered it. She is the Mahamaya. And as the Mahamaya, as I say, she conceals. And then she reveals. Why does she conceal then? For us to grow in our understanding of her. That concealment is in a way of protection. Yes, every living being that grows and matures in its infancy has to be protected. First, in the womb or in a cocoon or whatever, it has to be protected. And it's a form of concealment. And after that, when life has to grow and mature, that concealing power is withdrawn. So that's the reason why she has these two powers, because she is the great illusion, the great delusion, the great knowledge also. She conceals, protects, and reveals herself. This is what the worship of Durga is. And this is the great significance of life. Today, there is so much of dissension, disparities, and so much of divisions between ourselves, the world outside, with all life. These powers of the Devi, when contemplated on, will remove that. She is one, and she is also the many. This is her. There is nothing else. So how do we go there? Go about? Yeah, go and surrender yourself to her. That's all. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. To make a few announcements before we take these the questions. Saturday, we are going to have a worship of the Durga here at 11 a.m. So the next Sunday, there will be no talk, but you can come here on Saturday. This evening, we have Ram Nam. Yes, that's at 7 o'clock. Vespers at 6, Ram Nam. These are songs for Rama, and also English, and you can Sanskrit and Bengali songs sung from 7 to 8. And Wednesdays we have a gospel study group. Fridays we have a series on Gauri Ma, one of the monastic disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, the earliest monastic disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. She had a wonderful life. Thursdays we have at the retreat, Tapovan, Towards the Goal Supreme by Swami Brahmatmananda, Jim. So much for the announcements. And okay, there's only just thank yous. Okay. In-person questions can be taken over a cup of coffee or tea, whatever, down in the dining hall. Okay. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.